What's going on, family? What is going on? Thank you guys for tuning in again to the Author's Alley. I am your host, Mr. Frederick Beatty, and thank you so much again for tuning in to us. You guys could have been anywhere else, but you guys are right here chilling with us, and we most definitely appreciate that. So, this particular show is sponsored, is presented by Curvy Royal and Travel and Entertainment, and also proudly sponsored by Uppity Negro Apparel. Two of my two beautiful sisters who have two wonderful brands. Most definitely want you guys to check them out. But let me just run through a couple of announcements, and then we're gonna just get right to the nitty gritty with the beautiful guest that I have in front of me, man. So, and I really want to jump into this because she's been busy, and it's been a while since we chatted. So first and foremost, guys, I want you guys to I thank you so much for following us on all our social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, whether it is Instagram, whether it is LinkedIn, um, wherever you follow us at. We most definitely appreciate you for that. Please make sure you continue to follow us on those social media platforms, and also don't forget that this particular episode, as well as all our episodes, are also simultaneously live streamed on YouTube as well. So most definitely check us out on our YouTube channel as well. Also, we have a podcast website, guys. So if you guys are interested in going to that particular website, please and thank you. Go to www.podpage.com/Trailblazers Radio. Check out that podcast webpage. All our most recent episodes will be there. Will be there. Also, a little bit of information about who we are, what we do, and also there's also another page, the other part of that page where you can contact us for information if you guys most definitely want to do that. Also, if you are an author, if you are a entrepreneur, business person, leader, spiritual leader, community leader, whoever you are, we want to talk to you. So please, if you're interested in that, please hit us up via email at trailblazers with a Z radio at gmail.com. Once again, that is trailblazers with the Z radio at gmail.com. We will most definitely respond to your request or your inquiry within 24 hours of that inquiry, and we most definitely would like to chat with you as it pertains to your business, as it pertains to your books, as it pertains to your music, as it pertains to um, your leadership in your community, as it pertains to your leadership in your leadership in your religious organization. And last but most definitely not last, but I also want to thank my beautiful host, Miss Quint Jones, Miss Coco Fenton, Miss Barbara Melvin, aka Bobby, and most definitely want to thank those guys. And also want to thank my brother. I want to just continue to keep our prayers up for my brother, Mr. Terrence Jackson, um, as he continues to recover. Um, Big prayers to you, bro. Much love to you, man. I love you. I love you with the love of God, and there ain't nothing you can do about that. We're praying for your most definitely praying for your continued recovery. So I love you, bro. And keep getting stronger every day. And last but most definitely not least, want to thank God for everything, because without Him, this particular engine does not run. So most definitely want to give thanks to God, because if it wasn't for Him, this platform would be available, and you wouldn't be able to see the beautiful person that I have on sharing the screen with me. Now that that is out of the way, my friends, oh, please like, share, comment on this particular video, on this particular episode. Please like, please share, please comment, um, ask questions. Most definitely want to do that. Make sure you're engaged. Most definitely appreciate that. Now that that is out of the way, whew, man, I swear every time I do that, I get even more long-winded each time. But now that that's out of the way, this young lady, yeah, we got a lot of catching up to do. So just to give you guys a little bit of background on how how we met. It was quite a while back, and when I
Mhm.
say a while back, I won't say a very long time ago, but it was quite a while. So I met this young lady. We went to, we were both authors in a I forgot what that where did we initially meet? Was it in Barnes and Noble, or was it through the conference that young lady had?
The conference that the young lady had.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
that's on
We
now
were
that
both
jogging my
vendors.
memory.
Yeah, yeah. We were both vendors.
Yep. And she and this and like, man, she blew me away with, like, we had a nice conversation,
Mhm.
talked about a lot of things. Um, knew that, she's a phenomenal writer, phenomenal
Thank
author,
you.
phenomenal person. First of all, phenomenal person. and then on top of that, a phenomenal writer. So, you know, she's been really really busy, and I want to really catch up to see what she's been busy with. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna reintroduce to those who seen her here on this particular platform the first time. I'm gonna reintroduce you guys. So this is Christian fiction author She Nell. Man,
Hi, how
happy
are
Friday
you?
to you.
Happy Good Friday.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Any plans for Easter?
Um, no, we're probably going to do online. We've been doing mostly online church, so we'll probably do online church. And just continue to praise and pray and thank God for just continuing to bring us through this year because it's been a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, a whole lot
A
for a
whole
lot of
lot.
people.
Yes.
And
Yes.
even as we progress through this year, I just it just looks like the more things change, the more things just stay the same.
Yeah. It's definitely a faith journey and a prayer walk going on right now. I think in
Indeed.
everybody's camp, not just in my own, but just holistically all around. But we have victory in Him, so that's what I'm holding on to. I'm holding on to the fact that we win in the end, and yeah, that's where my mind is. I try to stay there because anywhere else you can it'll just derail you and get you off task and off the program.
That is true. That is so very true. So for those who don't know who you are,
Mhm.
why don't you give those who don't know who you are a little bit of background of who you are and what you do.
Well, I write books that make you laugh, cry, fall in love, all while following Jesus. I'm a Christian fiction author. I write mostly African American Christian fiction. However, there are different races in some of the books, especially the last one that came out, and then the following one after that. So that's what I do in a nutshell. I also have ventured off. You talked about being busy. I ventured off and started a t-shirt brand called Jesus Lit, where we bring awareness to Christian fiction and Christian authors because we're out there. So just like people, they wear their coffee and books shirt. Now you can also wear a Jesus Lit shirt and tell the world about Christian fiction.
Man, that is what it is. So
Yeah.
I mean, and I know we talked the first time we talked, we really kind of jumped that length about, you know, how Christian fiction is slowly but surely gaining traction
Hmm.
with a lot of readers, and again, just with the advent of what you're putting out there, um, also Miss
Yes.
Shantae, what she's doing, man, for
Yes.
she's a phenomenal person, and especially with the book she has, and there's so many other people that we both know
Mhm.
collectively and individually. You know, do you feel that it's still rolling along with the traction that is beginning to gain, or do you see it kind of waning a little bit?
Actually, I think it's picking up a little bit based on sales. When it don't make dollars, it don't make cent.
Man,
We got to have something to tithe. So, with that being said, there is a lot more traction going forward. A lot of people coming into the genre, and not only just females. A long time for a while, everything was heavily female saturated, but there's
right.
a good group of male authors out there too that are also coming into Christian fiction and doing very well. So, and as a matter of fact, in June, I'm going to on my blog. We're going to honor Christian fiction male authors, and I'll be spotlighting some of the male authors in June. May is all about the ladies, but uh, June will be all about the guys.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. Now, even with the gain of traction and how in Christian fiction literature, do do you still feel like it's still somewhat harder to get in the doors of certain places?
Um, I try to go where the readers are. So I've gone to events that have been, everybody's been there. So you have self-help, you have Christian fiction, you also have street lit, you had erotica and children's lit all in one place. And your readers find you. So it's not about, whether or not it's gonna take traction as far as am I gonna get all the books out there? It's more so the people that want you, your customer avatar, as they say, that person will find you. And more people are turning towards Christian fiction, not necessarily as the only thing they read, but as one of the things that they read along with everything else.
Yeah, because I mean, I noticed I saw one of your Facebook posts a couple of weeks ago that you were here, you were right here in my hometown, and I missed that.
Oh yes, yes. I was in Atlanta. I absolutely love Atlanta. I'm trying to figure out a way to move. We got some moving parts, but Atlanta, I'm coming. I'm trying to get there.
So tell us a little bit about the event that you went to.
So I went to the Vision Book Expo. It was wonderful. In Atlanta, I believe it was the Concourse Airport Hotel is where the event was. I got to meet Ian Joy. I got to finally face to face meet Teresa, who I've done some work with in the past as far as her, promotion in her magazine is concerned. So that was awesome. And like I said, there were people from all over the primarily African American literature diaspora. So you had your street fiction, you had your more romantic fiction. I was there with Christian fiction. You had business, and of course a lot of children's books too. So it was just great. It was great, and I absolutely loved the city. Like we walked around. We did the Martin Luther King. The Center for Justice thing. We did that. I saw the original Ebenezer Baptist Church. And I went to Spelman, went to Morehouse. Like it was great. I just absolutely loved being in the city. We stayed in a cute little bungalow. So yeah, we're planning to go back in June. We're going back just for fun. Just to walk around and they have so many vegan restaurants too.
Oh yeah, you'll find it here.
Yeah, I was so happy because here in Florida,
Yeah,
we yeah, it's like you eat vegan. No one eats vegan food that looks like me. Put it that way. So it was it was great to see people that look like me also eating vegan food.
man, I'm glad I'm glad y'all had fun had fun being out here. But
Yeah,
I'm also happy for you able to for you being able to connect with read with more people and more
yeah,
readers. It's
yeah,
it always does my heart good when a fellow author of mine is able to connect with new readers and connect with new people,
yeah,
because it's it's difficult out here for an author, man.
yeah.
Especially
Yes.
one that writes in the genre that you write in, and the genre that I write in. I mean, well, I don't consider what I write a genre. I just write, but
Hmm.
when you write about things that are more that hit more closer to home,
Hmm.
such
Hmm.
as such as the subjects that you touch on in your books, it's sometimes it's a little hard to gain traction with those type of people, because a lot of people want to roll over to the street lit, the urban lit, the erotica, the children's books,
Hmm.
because for some people those are more easily accessible. But at the same time, Christian fiction is just as easily accessible as everything else. It's
Yeah.
just you just have to open up the book and take a look at it.
Hmm.
It goes
Hmm.
beyond the synopsis.
Yes, definitely goes beyond the synopsis. And there are different facets of. I think we talked about the last time. There are different facets of Christian fiction. You have some Christian fiction that is really on that borderline, like it reads like street lit almost, but it is in fact Christian based. And then you have other elements of Christian fiction that are more traditional, I'll say, or more what you would think of when you think of Christian fiction. So there is some growth within our I call it the diaspora because and when I went to college and I took my first African studies course, we learned about Africa and the diaspora. So the diaspora of
Right.
Christian fiction is growing.
Oh yeah, it is, and it's. I think a lot of people are beginning to kind of see that you got these writers, and these writers are just as talented as the street lit guys, or
Hmm.
just as talented as the
Yeah.
urban lit guys, just as talented as a poet or anything else. I mean, it's for me. I'm when I read beyond the synopsis. The
Hmm.
synopsis is just kind of like that little teaser for me, that teaser for me. I'm getting to see what this book is about. Once I open that book and start reading it, and I'm pulled into that universe or that
Mm-hmm.
world, then it's like, wow, this is
Yeah.
this is great, this is cool, this is lovely.
Yeah.
You want to know what happens next, even though I know, and I've even the last time we talked, I've heard people say that that's Christian fiction is kind of, well, I won't say kind of. They'll say that it's quote unquote boring because it lacks pace
No,
or it lacks substance or it lacks style. What would be your response to that?
absolutely not. I think that it's easy to put that label on it because when we think of Christian fiction, I guess we think of church, like, sitting under the word and the pastor's preaching. And if you grew up Baptist, then you're thinking of, hot, hard pews, fans are going, that type of thing. But no, there are a lot of fast paced Christian fiction books. There's Christian fiction, thriller, suspense, romance. There are, like I said, books that lean towards the street lit lens. Um, and then there's Christian. I'm reading a Christian mystery right now, actually, and it's pacing very well. So I would say you have to give it a try. You have to, you know, give it a chance, like you said, beyond the synopsis and kind
Oh
of
yeah.
go in the pages. And Amazon has a wonderful feature. The look inside feature, you can almost read up to, I think, like my last time I checked it on one of my books, it was almost like 3 chapters that you could read before you even purchase the book.
Preview before you touch it.
Yeah, definitely. So, you just have to find um that author that speaks to you. And from there, do like anything else, you just grow and keep going.
Exactly, exactly. You know, and the one thing that I like about, you know, what we do is that we're able to, with our words and with our pen, we're able to connect people to the places and things,
Yes.
ideas, thought processes, and also get them to kind of change, look at things from a different perspective and maybe make a change in
Mm-hmm.
their life. I know for me, that's that's the end goal for me.
Yeah.
To change somebody's life. One word, one paragraph, one sentence at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Most people look at it, well, I'm just in it for the pay. And I know the last time we talked, you know, it was our thought processes were pretty much aligned. You
Mm-hmm.
know, in the days and weeks that have passed since we last talked, is your thought process still the same, in the same vein?
Definitely in the same vein as far as the motive for doing it. The motive for doing it is always to be light and salt. That's why I named the publishing company Light and Salt, to be light and salt into the earth. So that would mean to, give someone some hope, give them some, something that helps them persevere through whatever it is they go through. Definitely turning the light back on the Savior. Those motives haven't changed. Now, financially, it's a business,
Of
there's a
course,
whole other side of authorship that's called business.
of
Um,
course.
but I have a wonderful Christian mentor, and she put the money in perspective by saying, our income is the hands and feet of Christ. Our income is to, help the widows, help the poor, help those that are in need. So the more I earn, the more I can give outside
Right.
of, what I need to do to pay bills. So when I look at it financially in that lens, it's more palatable. It's like I'm not trying to get rich for me. I actually do want to be able to tithe, a good portion. I'm praying for it. I want a $200 tithe check. I want to tithe just a straight $200 a week for 4 weeks. So
There you
that's
go.
so that's where the income side of everything comes from. But the motive definitely hasn't changed. Definitely still wanting to uplift and help people.
Wow, you got a publishing company now, huh? Light and Salt. Where did that come about?
So my former publisher, I was with Anointed Inspiration, she wanted to just do some different things. She actually has done a phenomenal job with a couple of movies, and she's right there in Atlanta where you are. Shout out to Denora. So when she went in that direction, she was gracious enough to provide me with guidance and all of my publishing rights back. So I published Walking Crooked with Christ just to kind of see, if this is something I could do. And I did it, and I enjoyed the process. And then I started Light and Salt, Light and Salt Press LLC, where I solely, right now, I'm just publishing myself. And, other facets fall underneath that same umbrella of Light and Salt. But yeah, it's been a blessing. It's been a journey, because again, there's the writing side of things, and then there's the business side of things. But to God be the glory. He's put me in the right places and in front of the right people.
Wow, publishing, huh? That's
Yeah.
how daunting is that?
Um, as an independent author, it's work. You have to balance it. Like, you want to be creative and you want to just sit there and write and you want to read things, but you have to set up promotions. I just got out of a marketing meeting. I have meetings with myself. Don't mind me. I just got out of a marketing meeting where I was pacing out things for May, and some big launches going on in May. So it's a process, but I like both sides of it.
Which one again? Which one brings the most challenge? The creative side of being a writer, or the business side of being a publisher?
The business side of being a publisher. The creative side is beautiful. Like, I don't sleep. So 10 o'clock, I start writing sprints, and I'm just pouring things onto the page, and characters are speaking, and it's beautiful. Prior to that, from, I would say, daytime, anytime the sun is up, I am usually working more towards the business side of things. So that's social media, any type of product that we're putting out, any type of course that I need to take, because continuing education is important. You can't just be out here in these literary streets without education. So you got to find somebody, some program to make sure that you're in the right space.
Man, and the one thing that you mentioned, you continuing education, you know, as a publisher and as an author, you know, and this is kind of speaking to those upstart authors or upstart people who upstarts who want to start their own publishing company. How important is that continuing education in the maturation and the growth process from being a new author to being an established author, but also starting from a new publisher to being established publisher?
Um, it's pivotal. I would say it should be, even when you're just an author and you're not. I don't care if you're signed with somebody, or if you're an independent author, or you're with Random House or the Big Five. You still need that education, because you need to know what should be done. You need to know what's not being done. You need to know what you're responsible for. You need to know how the money works, because we're talking percentages and royalties and things like that. So even if you're just, I want to be an author, I want to write a book, there is a business component that needs to get the same amount of passion that you want to put into the page. You need to also put that into the business. And then the same goes as you grow. And if you start publishing, your own works, you need to read the Amazon, the guideline thing. Like, there are rules.
Oh yeah, rules and regulations.
Yeah, there are a lot of rules and regulations. Don't hit print before you read the fine print.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And that's important, because you have to be able to understand what you're getting into in order to press forward or succeed. Because if you don't know what you're getting into, if you don't know what you're engaging in, then you're pretty much gonna be you're gonna be on a sinking ship, and you ain't gonna be able to find a way out of it. And that's not. And I don't want anybody, whether it's a new author, whether it's an established author, whether it's a new publisher or an established publisher, to fall in that trap. Because the one thing that you mentioned, and I will repeat it, continuing education is a pivotal part in the evolution of you being of an author and a publisher, because the more you evolve, the more you educate yourself, the better you become. The more you put knowledge behind what you're doing, the better, the more knowledgeable you become as an author,
Hmm.
as a publisher, and you're able to disseminate that information to other upstarts and other people
Hmm.
that are looking to try to jump into this, you know, head first. You can tell them, hey, look, don't do that. You
Yeah.
want to jump into this water, feet. You want to jump into this pool, feet first.
Yeah. And it always change. There are always changes and things that occur.
Yeah.
It's like any other business, any other facet of life. So you gotta kind of keep up with those current events as well,
Oh
um,
yes.
and trends
Oh
and
yeah.
things and all of it. But it's fun. I like it.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I
for
don't
the
want to do
because
anything else.
the fun part is now you get to now you have where you didn't have total creative control. Now you have complete creative control.
Yes, which is good and bad. There is I early on, I followed a couple of YouTubers and read some blogs, and they were talking about decision fatigue. And I'm like, decision fatigue? I would absolutely love to have complete control over absolutely every facet of my author career. What do you mean decision fatigue? And that is real. There is something called decision fatigue because there are so many decisions to make. And you're like, oh
Wow,
goodness, if someone else asked me one more thing. So yeah.
man. Look, what a lot of people don't realize is that the business of being an author, there are gears and cogs that they're in that, but also the business of
Mhm.
being a publisher, there are also gears and cogs in that, and the business of being a publisher has way more gears and cogs than the business of being an author.
Yes.
It's just maybe one or two gears as being an author, because the only thing you're responsible for is sitting in front of a laptop or in front of a notebook and just creating the book or creating your content.
Hmm.
It's different when you're the publisher. You're the publisher too. Now you gotta
You got to market
marketing,
that content.
social media,
Yes. You
meeting,
got to
meeting
market it.
with people, various people.
Yes, definitely. All of those things. All of those things. But like I said, I like it though. I really do. I wouldn't do anything else.
So what do you do to keep yourself from being burned out? Because we because I know I've had those moments to where I've I flamed out for a
Hmm.
period of time, just not because of the boredom or anything like that. It's just because of certain life situations and things of that
Hmm.
nature, and it kind of puts you in a mode of not really want to be creative, so you kind of flame out for a little bit.
Hmm.
What's your secret to not flaming out?
Um, I've learned to be realistic with my time and my decisions. At the beginning of every year, I sit down and I want to plot out these books, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to write all of these books. But when you look at the time you actually have, that's not the case. Like, there's not enough time to do that in my life. Some people do have that luxury where, they're full time and they can sit down and churn out a book a month. That's not my story right now. So, number one would be just being realistic with the time that I'm given. And then definitely extending myself some grace because I'm the type of person I want to do all the things, but I can't physically do all the things. And when my body says, okay, you need to take a nap, I have to listen to it and I have to extend myself some grace. And then recently, I've gotten back into the things that I like to do. I used before I started writing and publishing. I I was a reader first. I had a blog and I was a reader. So I've gotten back into making sure that I'm reading professional books, but also some good fiction as well. And those three things would be definitely what has helped me come back from fizzling out and has kind of kept me afloat, so I'm not fizzling out again.
Got you. So you indulge in the self care routines.
Yes, definitely. You got to listen to your body because if you think about it, when you're being creative, you're pouring out that creative well, right? You're pouring out, you're pouring out, you're pouring out. But if you don't have any experiences to draw from because you're always sitting behind your computer, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to have, for me anyway, experiences to draw from. So you got to kind of go out places and see things and do things that you enjoy and explore. Um, or things will kind of, for me, things will get kind of stagnant because I don't have anything to draw from.
Man, and that's important to be able to have that consistent pool to draw from
Mm-hmm.
because when we and you more likely would agree with it. When we write from our own personal experiences, number
Mm-hmm.
one, and
Mm-hmm.
then everything else kind of builds. Everything else builds around it.
Yes.
So if there's nothing to experience, then there's nothing to write, and
Nothing to
then there's
write.
nothing to build. There's no world to build. There's nothing to build off of that. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Definitely.
you know, and you said your characters talk to you.
Yes. They
You're
do.
you're you're man. You're like the maybe the third or fourth person that I've talked to that says that like your characters talk to you. How do they talk? They talk to you in plain English or what? How do they talk to you?
Yeah. They especially when I'm writing in first person. I'm in a series or a serial right now where all of the stories are in first person, and traditionally it's been the female lead character that has been telling the story. And in this next book that I'm working on, Resting on the Word, the husband of the female main character was like, well, I got stuff to say too. And so I started plotting out, some of his experiences as well. So this next book it'll oscillate back and forth. It'll be the female lead character, and then the male character will be speaking as well. So I have two voices going back and forth now, as
Oh
opposed to
man,
one.
both fighting for your time.
Yeah, yeah, back and forth. But it's fine. It's totally fine. I like to listen to their stories. So
Oh man, and I bet those stories and all those stories transfer to the page, to the pen, to the page,
mm-hmm,
which is
mm-hmm.
which is lovely, and that gives the reader the most vivid, most visceral experience ever.
Yeah, that's the goal. I would like it to kind of read like a movie or like a TV, a TV script. So when you're reading it, I would like the reader to be able to feel the emotions of the characters, but also to be immersed in the world that the characters are in. So you're muted. You're muted. There you go.
I'll mute it. There. So I got to ask you this: which is more which is more difficult to write, first person or third person?
First person, because when you're writing, well, first of all, I love to write third person. My first three books were in third person. It was wonderful because it's like you're hovering over the scene and you can see everything, right? And so
Right.
you can just super describe everything. When you're in first person, you have to remember that you're only able to see what the main character sees.
So you're
So
limited to that
yeah, you're very
180
yeah.
degree view.
Yep. Yep, it's limited. So you can't do. There are certain craft things that you don't want to do when it's and when you want to describe how the character looks. Like you don't want them to stand in front of a mirror and describe themselves. Like that's kind of boring. So you have to kind of go around things to get to those descriptions. Whereas if I'm just in third person, I can tell you, he was tall, dark, and handsome. But I can't say that if, I'm writing him and it's his story. No one goes around, I am tall, dark, and handsome. So
Nope.
I that would definitely be the more difficult, but it's the more personable too, because when you go back and read the book, like you're with that character. I just finished book 3 in the Living a Blessed Lie series. I have one more book to go. And in that series, the main character is telling the story, but she's actually telling the story about other people. So it was a stretch. It was definitely a learning curve to get, all of the things that needed to be on the page to make it a great short story.
Right. And then the other thing is you have to have all those elements come together,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're writing in the first person, because again, your viewpoint is only limited to what's in front of you, and
Yes.
maybe what you're able to see from your left and to your right. You
Mm-hmm.
know, If you want to see them something behind you, you have to completely turn around.
And you can't
And
head hop either. That was difficult to learn, because if my main character is speaking to the girl at the store who's ringing up her groceries, and that girl has an attitude, I can't head hop and start talking about, oh, she had a rough day. How does the person, how does the main character know she had a rough day? They weren't together. So it's a skill. Like it took some time. Like I really did have to do some research before I just
yeah,
sat down and said, this is what I'm going to do.
exactly, exactly. And I know with me, if I'm gonna write, I mean, everything that I've written is usually is been in the third person. Honestly speaking, just because for me to, and I'm like you, that's much more immersive because
Mm-hmm.
you have the bird's eye view and you can see everything.
Yeah.
But then when you look at it, and I look at it, and this is a funny analogy that I look at it. I look at it in the form of how certain video games are developed or are made. Something you
Mm-hmm.
have your first person games where your viewpoint is only to the character and you're only limited to left, right,
Mm-hmm.
in front and maybe behind. But then you have third person, which is the camera's farther away, but you're able to see a lot more things and everything's in a
Yes.
in a better view.
Mm-hmm.
Each one has its own benefits and has its own
Yes.
takeaways from it. Yeah, and some people, and I know some people use a combination of the two. And I'm like, wait a minute, how did you do that? And it made sense.
I haven't mastered that yet. I have heard of people being able to blend the two, um, but I haven't been able to master that skill
Me neither.
because, yeah, I'm just not that good yet. I need some more continuing education.
Same here. Same here. I'm like, yeah, if I do that, it won't even sound right.
Yeah, I, I'm not that good yet.
Me
So
neither. I will
one
admit
day
that.
I'll keep trying though. We'll see.
Oh,
Maybe one day.
most definitely gonna keep trying because that's the goal. You the continuing education is to strive for you to strive to be better. That
Hmm.
helps you get better. A
Yes.
lot of people don't realize that writing is a continuous educational thing because if you're writing in a certain genre, you don't want to you want to make sure that what you're doing is interesting and is immersive and it pulls people in.
Hmm.
They don't want nothing
Hmm.
bland because people are looking at it and be like, I ain't reading that. I ain't reading that.
And then that
So
certain genres have rules too. There are frameworks for the genre. That
yeah,
was my
of course.
my I wrote Her Pleasures, His Principles, and it's a romance. And so I broke one of the cardinal rules of romance because I wasn't aware that it was so. I didn't want it to be something where you picked up the book and you knew exactly what was going to happen. So I tried to spice it up a little bit, and I really
Ah,
ticked some readers off. I had a couple of emails and a couple of reviews where they were kind of upset because in a romance, the guy gets the girl or the girl gets the guy. And then in this
ah,
particular story, she does get a guy, but it's not the one that you think it is. So I broke one of those romance rules. So that's why I say it's important to continue to learn because there's framework. You can kind of color outside of the lines at times, but there's framework. And readers have expectations. If I pick up a romance, they want a happily ever after. They don't want a twist.
I mean, the twist makes it interesting. I mean, I don't me personally, I don't see anything wrong with coloring outside of the lines.
Definitely.
I
No, you
personally
have
don't
to.
see it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that it's wrong. You definitely want to have your creative freedom. But if it's a traditional like boy meets girl, they're friends and they get together, the twist is not whether or not they get together. The twist might be that, the cousin killed the best friend or the bridesmaids are feud. You know what I'm saying? There are twists there, or there was
Right.
an affair. Like the best man. The
Yeah.
twist was you knew that Lance was gonna marry old girl. The
Yep.
twist was that she had slept with Tay Diggs, before when they were in college. So you can still put a twist in there. The twist makes it interesting. Gotta have a little
Exactly.
twist.
Exactly. And I mean, and I know that some certain things fall within a traditional framework, and I'm all for framework, and I'm all for things that keep things congruent and consistent.
Hmm.
But when I look at that part of it, sometimes consistency can get a little bit boring.
Yeah, consistency not done well. Yes, it can be. It can be a
Exactly.
little slow. It can be. It can definitely be slow. So you have to that, and that's again back to the education side of it. That's where you have to really learn how to make sure that it's not slow or make sure that it's not boring, because pacing can really hurt a novel.
Oh
If the pacing
yes.
is really slow, readers are going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I
Get to the
can't."
good part.
Yeah. When is this part gonna be over? So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Who do you? So when I think of pacing, and when I think of like when I think of like pacing, I usually think of like a Tom Clancy novel or a Stephen King
mhm,
novel.
mhm,
Those a lot of those books that I read were excellently paced because it just leads you toward where it leads you toward to where you think where either an expected outcome or an unexpected outcome.
mhm,
You
mhm.
know, and when I think of pacing, I think of those guys. But when I also think of pacing, I also think of like certain graphic novels,
Yes,
um, from like Frank Miller and and Alan Moore and those guys. I mean, as you can tell, I'm a big comic book fan. So
it's fine.
when I think of pacing, I think of those
Mhm,
because sometimes, and I guess maybe with me, I want something that goes at a moderate pace
mhm. Definitely.
than a slower than a quicker or a slower pace. Now, if it's a romance, which I'm actually reading a romance and it's at a slower pace, I'm okay with that because usually that's usually the framework of how a romance novel goes at a much slower pace. It kind of quickens a little bit towards the end, but it doesn't quicken like it doesn't quicken like in a snap.
Yeah. And then with a lot of romance, you want to see what happened. You get to know the characters, and you want to be there with them through their experiences and their adversities, and kind of see how it all ends in the end. For me, I'm a big movie person. You mentioned comic books. We got the Marvel channel, so I I'm a very big movie person, and a lot of I look at the movie twofold. Of course, the entertainment value of it,
Of
but
course.
a movie is a version of a book. It's a screenplay, so a
Right.
lot of the writing and how things develop in the actual pace of the film is important as well. And I find that it's similar to when you're writing.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, you mentioned Marvel movies. I mean, I'm a big Marvel fan. It's just as well as a DC fan. But for me, I guess for me, when I'm looking at those movies, my first question is going to be, does it stick to the established canon?
Okay. I'm
I mean,
trying to figure out what order it came in.
well, so
Because all of Marvel, they release them differently. So you've got to kind of figure out. I'm in the putting it together. Like I just
so
watched Thor. I don't know which one it was. It was the one where he lost his eye, and so I was like, oh, okay, that's why didn't have an eye 2 movies ago when I
oh, Thor
watched.
Ragnarok.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we think so. I'll give a good example. Um, the the Iron Man series. It starts
Hmm.
off from the beginning and stuff like that. So if you read the comic book, he built this suit of armor to to keep his heart functioning and things of that nature and everything of that nature, everything like that. And then he goes to create this big thing and creates his own armor, becomes a crime fighter and things of that nature. So for me, that's established canon. If it
Okay.
follows that,
Hmm.
if it follows like what's established already in the comic books. Now with movies, we both notice there are certain freedoms that you can kind of jump away from
Yes.
certain
Yes.
aspects of the canon, or at
Mhm.
least play with it a little bit.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm cool with a little. And for me, I'm cool with the play with a little bit of the play part because if you add your own flavor to it, then it kind of gives it a little bit. It jumps away from the canon, but it also doesn't stray far away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
the Marvel universe is fairly good at keeping in that. Now DC, well, I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, me too.
Not to
But
say this is a mess or anything like that. It's just where where's the establishment of the your core characters here? You know,
mm-hmm.
is
Yes,
there something established as far as canon with them? Is there something established as far as like originations and stuff like that? For
I
me,
think
that's
yeah,
go ahead.
I think that it because you mentioned the difference in the book. When you're developing when you're developing a book or a comic, it's that author and the page.
Yep.
And it's an assumption, but I could imagine that when you're doing the movie, it's the director, it's the producer, it's the actor. It's all of these people who see it from a different lens or a different angle, and they make wonderful movies. But I'm sure that there are liberties because when it first came out in comic book form, it was the one writer and the page.
Yep.
And for me, that's one of the better parts of writing. Just the fact that it's just me and the page. That it's just a beautiful thing to listen to them talk and just be with the page.
I love that. Be with the page.
Yeah,
Be with the page.
yeah.
And I love that you say that your characters talk to you and they converse with you and
Mm-hmm.
all these ideas come around and I'm like, okay, I hear you. I hear you. Give me a second. Let me write all this down. And I love the fact that you say your characters talk to you. I think that's important that you're able to do that, you know, and it's important that, as a writer that you create well-rounded characters. I mean,
Yes.
how easy or how difficult is that for you to create well-rounded characters?
I would hope that as I've done more books and kind of gotten deeper into the pond, that I've gotten better. That's always my prayer. The readers would have to tell me, but um,
Exactly.
for me, I think that the process is a little different now than when I first started. When I first started, the first couple of books, they were very personal in a lot of the core things that went on. They were very personal and from my own lens. And then as I just got more experiences and the character started kind of taking over a little bit more, then the characters had their own personalities and their own worlds, and it was less of me and kind of more of them with the last couple of books, especially the last series that I'm in, Living a Blessed Lie. Like that's those group of friends. That's
Wow.
not
I like that.
that's not an adaptation of me and my sorority sisters. No, that's like a separate group of friends and the things that they go through.
Wow. And I like that you said that because it is, I know for me it is, I won't say difficult, but it's not necessarily easy
Yeah.
to create well-rounded and relatable characters. I mean, it's easy to create relatable characters, but well-rounded and adaptable type characters, that's still my challenge because even with the first two books that I wrote, they were the characters were relatable because of the shared experiences,
Mhm. Mhm.
but they weren't as well-rounded as I would have wanted them or would have liked for them to be because again, you were talking about things from each a different from four different perspectives,
Mhm.
and we're talking about a subject that is approached from four different perspectives.
Mhm. Mhm.
Domestic violence for a woman is a different perspective than it is for a man, than it is for a child,
Yes.
than it is for anybody else. So
Mhm.
I had to look at that and kind of to I had to put it to thought, but I also got to put myself to task
Mhm.
because my question was always, how can I make these guys well-rounded as well as relatable, and also have them be, also have them kind of stand out
Mhm.
from the other, and for me that was my challenge.
Yes. It's a process for me. with the Living the Blessed Lies series, it was there. So Living the Blessed Lies is a series of short stories. And I wanted them to be short stories. I did not want a full length novel about what was going on in these people's lives. It was more like a something I did after a longer book. I just wanted to
Got
tell
you.
a story. So by it being short stories, the struggle was to give the reader the experience of the character and enough information, but also keep it under 10,000 words. Um,
Ooh, that's a challenge.
yeah, it was. It definitely is a challenge. I have one more book to go in the series, book 4. Book 3 just came out, and book 4 is the last one.
Ooh, under 10,000 words. Ooh, that
Yeah,
is a challenge and a half. I mean,
yeah.
and I guess you don't want to either, you don't want to be less descriptive or too descriptive. So you
Mm-hmm.
kind of find that middle ground to play in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. And then in
Ooh,
that one, also, that's one of the ones where um, the story is told from the main character's perspective. Her name is Tiffany. And the first 3 books, she was telling someone else's story. Like we were finding out the person's life, for lack of a better word, as the book developed. So in the 4th book, we'll deal with her mess because she got problems too. She walking around talking like she got problems on
she
her
got her own
own.
set of problems.
Yeah, she got her own set of problems. So we'll be
Oh man,
working on that after a couple of projects.
that's what's up. That's what's up. And I know for me, emotion plays a huge impact
Mm-hmm.
on what I write in the the messages or the things that I want to convey,
Mm-hmm.
especially when I'm using conversation to push forth a point,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to the characters that I've written, that I've created. I always want to use their conversation to push forth the emotional responses and not use any
Mm-hmm.
descriptive words to convey that. I want
Mm-hmm.
what they talk about to bring about that emotion. How how important is it for you to bring emotion into, not the, in the character, and to bring emotion into the characters that you write, but also have those characters project that emotion to the reader, so that their reader will be able to kind of relate or feel the same thing that they're feeling, whether it was anger or sadness or anything.
Um, you mentioned how you want the character to the dialogue, so you want it to push through the dialogue. I think that's very important. It's a dance. It's a really a sometimes it's a tango, sometimes it's a waltz. It's really a dance because it's a balance of the emotion in the dialogue and then also the tag that goes along with the dialogue.
Right.
There's a difference between um, shut the door, she said, and shut the door, she groaned. Like, oh, whoa, she's
Exactly.
groaning. What's going on? Why is she
What's
groaning?
going on with her?
Yeah, what's going on? So it's definitely a balance. It's a dance, and that kind of goes to pacing too. Because if it's fast paced, then there are a certain set of dialogue tags that you might want to use, and if it's a slower pace and it's something steamy, there are a couple of other dialogue tags, and you have to balance it though. Everything can't be a dialogue tag. It can't all be immersive.
Right.
It has to be a balance. So that's why I say it's a dance. It's definitely a dance.
I know what you said. Sometimes it's a waltz, and sometimes it's something else. But then sometimes when it comes with me, it becomes a break dance. I'm like,
Yeah,
it is
we
something that's
pop
totally
blocking.
unintended.
Yes, we be pop blocking. Yeah,
I'm like,
don't let
I don't
me.
know. I know when I wrote my second book, and I guess the dialogue between the daughter and the father, and I wanted to go one way because I wanted to kind of be like a salsa, or or
Mm-hmm.
a much more slower pace salsa, because the conversation was between daughter and father. It ended
Mm-hmm.
up being a break dance.
Yeah, I get
Like,
it. Yeah, definitely. And that's where when we were talking about the character speaking, so I plot a book out with some kind of key highlight points, but the characters definitely have the abilities, like you said, to change it. You were writing, a nice little salsa, and they were like, "No,
we want to
where's
break
the?
dance.
Yeah, we want to break dance. Where's the boombox? Put the cardboard on the
Where's
ground.
the cardboard?
Where's the cardboard?
You
Let's
know, you
get
got your
it."
Shell to Adidas on. Come on, let's
Yes,
go.
absolutely
And
love those Adidas too.
me too. And I'm like, and
Those were my favorite.
I was like, where? And I was like, when I read it, I did like that went somewhere where I totally did not intend it to go.
Hmm.
But at the same time, after I read it, I'm like, well, that works
Yeah.
because now it just kind of intensive because in my eyes it intensified the the frustration and the level
Hmm.
of anger that she was feeling towards her father. I'm like, because I wanted to be more of a calm conversation where
Hmm.
there may be some heated words, but they're not said in an aggressive manner. But all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like, well, geez, that turned out to be a breakdance. Okay,
Yeah.
boombox and then everything. When I read it, I'm like,
Cardboard.
okay, I like this.
Let me take off my big gold chain so I can do a
Exactly,
windmill.
exactly. I'm like, okay, I like that. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. And it's important. You like you said, it's important to pace. It's important to, you know, put your dialogue tags there, but it's also important and you mentioned it. It's also important for the reader to kind of catch the hint
Yes. Yes.
because someone can say something like you mentioned the example, and because I know for me, if someone said she grown, I'm like, oh hell, something's either
Okay.
something's wrong or something's about to go down.
Yeah. What's going on? Why is she groaning? She feel okay? What's going on?
Exactly.
Um. Yeah.
I'm buckling myself up because something's happening after that.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Now
Definitely.
now I'm gonna I guess I'm gonna be call myself old school because I am. So I still outline and I still write in a notebook.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I have notebooks like I do. Here's one because I always have them with me. So I have little notebooks, but it's where I like outline and plot and write ideas down and write scene things down, and I type. But when I first started writing many eons ago, I was definitely a pen and paper person. But I've gotten it so accustomed to typing that it kind of hurts when I write for long periods of
Ooh.
time.
Yeah, I don't write for long periods of time. I mean, it's for me, it's in spurts.
Yeah.
So maybe like a 20 to 30 minute spurt,
Okay.
and then
Like a kind of like a
then
Pomodoro.
I'm
Yeah.
done with it. Now the outline thing, I pretty much can spend all day with that because that's where I can just kind of plot things out. And just like you said, just because you plot it out doesn't mean it goes the way you. This would mean it goes the way you plot it out.
Yes, definitely. Lots of sticky notes.
Yep. And I know for me that I'm looking at what I typed and I'm looking at what I wrote like in the notebook. Like that
Hmm.
ain't what?
Yeah.
That's totally different than what I just wrote.
Lots of sticky notes. Lots of sticky notes. I have one book where I plotted it oh so well. I had all my lines and I got highlighters and it was really pretty. And then as I started writing and the characters started shifting things, I had my sticky notes, my little sticky notes, because my little sticky notes, and I'm sticking it over places and rewriting what's going to happen because it does change as
Yep,
the time
it
goes on.
does.
But I find
And it's
that's the fun part about it though too.
oh
So,
yeah. And it's funny how it's funny how you write it down in a notebook and then and then it translates to the on a screen completely different than what you wrote it. I'm like,
mhm.
that wasn't what I thought about, but it sounds much better now.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a draft and a half. One in your
Look,
notebook, that's kind of like the first draft. So not a full draft though, so like point 0.5. And then when you
of
get
course.
to your computer screen, you're able to see it from a different lens, and then that becomes a separate draft. And then, of
Right.
course, it goes through all of its paces. And at the end of the day, you pray for a book.
Exactly. Exactly. Like God, this but please let this be a book. Please let this be a book.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to just like so this was my experience when I was writing my second book. I had to, so I'm like I'm at a good pace and I'm just doing I'm going I'm flowing and I'm going. 30 pages in, I decided to delete the whole thing and start over. Have you ever start over? Have you ever done that?
Yes, I have not necessarily deleted, but just pulled up a whole new draft. Like, mm, I'm not feeling that. Like, I like elements of it, but that's not the story. And then I just pull up a whole new document and start over. I also have, if Michael's ever wants to sponsor me, these little notebooks are amazing. Um, I have a ton of these that I've started a story, I've plotted it out, but it just wasn't the time for that. Or it wasn't what I needed it to be. So I tossed it to the side and I got something else going. So I think it happens to everybody. At least I hope I'm not crazy.
It happened to me. So you're not
But
crazy. It happened to me.
okay. I think, and that's part of the process though. But a lot of times those characters in or scenes, they make their way into something else down the line.
Oh yeah.
So it's
Oh
not in
yeah.
vain. It's not in vain.
Oh yeah. And I'm like, and I'm and I had to think about like why okay, this does this just throw this whole page all this away. This is not what I want.
But don't throw it away. Keep it because you might want to pull from it later. I just
Well, there
have
were
I have
elements
I
that are
literally have a section of notebooks that are just stuff that I started, you know,
really
or things that I wanted, but then it didn't go well. And then down the line, it's like, oh, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. And you go pull it up and like, okay, got some framework, might throw some elements from that exercise into this.
okay. So that's a see, you learn something new every day because I
Yeah,
I
just keep
deleted
it.
the whole thing. It started all over from page one.
Yeah, I definitely have been there where I've just put, you know what, put that in another folder and pull up another draft, another
Yeah.
document. That's when I was writing in Word. I don't write in Word anymore though, so
What do
that's
you
all
use?
away.
What do
I
you use
use
besides Word?
I use Dabble. My first draft is in Dabble, and then
Really?
from Dabble I export to Word because of course my editor, she edits in Word. So after the first draft is done and I've kind of combed through it, I export it into Word. But my first draft is in Dabble
So
because
is that like Word or something like that, or is this kind of like a
um,
software that you use to write books?
it's an app and a software that you can use to write books. There's a free version, but I just paid for the paid version. It's like $12 a month. What I like about it though is it's so I have it on my computer, of course, but I also have the app on my phone. So if I'm in line at the bank or if I'm waiting on some child to get out of work or to get out of practice, then I can pull up my app and work on my novel, and it syncs automatically.
See,
Yeah, so I've been at work at times. You get your lunch break. You get 30 minutes, an hour, depending on what you do outside of authoring. And I've pulled up my novel on my phone and just wrote for my lunch break, and then you go clean it up later.
I need that in my life right
Yeah,
now.
dabble, dabble.com. Um, absolutely,
Most definitely go
yeah,
check that out.
yeah.
Most definitely go check that out.
And
And
there are other programs. There's like Scrivener and a bunch of other programs. But Dabble was just really easy to do, and I'm here. I'm here for easy.
look, I like easy too.
Yeah.
Then this is something for like for writers. I mean, you say and the tools that it has are, it's are they really easy? Is it really user friendly?
Oh my goodness, yes. It's very user friendly. You set up your I set up my manuscript, and then you can actually chunk out your chapters. They have a goals feature where you can say, okay, I want to finish this novel by this date. And it'll tell you how many words you need to write a day. It'll keep count of all your words that you're writing. If you hit your goal for the day, the screen lights up and you have confetti and it says congratulations.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a real cool program. It's a
That's
very
what's
cool
up. I like
program.
that.
Hmm.
Most definitely gonna look into that right there. Most definitely gonna look into that. So so let's see. So what does She Nell have going on right now? What are we looking at? What are we looking at, or what are we looking forward to as far as releases for her?
Okay, so Living a Blessed Life 3 just came out last week on the 8th. Um, we're definitely promoting that. There's the t-shirt brand Jesus Lit, and then also in the month of May, I have a new product that I'm launching. I'm launching a set of prayer journals, and so every week in May, a book will be released.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Cool.
we're
Cool.
doing so we'll have the t-shirts, we'll have prayer journals, and then of course the fiction will still keep coming. Like I said, I'm working on Jade's story, which is resting in his word, resting on the word.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Now, any full length novels going
Yeah,
coming out for you?
definitely. Resting on the word is the full-length novel. And I will finish that before I finish Living a Blessed Life 4. So because that's the short story. So I'm in the long
Gotcha.
story right now, and then the prayer journals, which um I like journals. So I figured I got a lick on how to do it, and we'll be coming out with some journals.
There you go. That's what's up. I
Yeah.
like that. But I like how you paced yourself though. You know, big book, short
Yes.
story, big book, short story, big book,
Hmm.
journals, short story. I like how you pace yourself. You and that's and I know that's intentional.
Yes. Very intentional. The short story came out of just wanting to not do a whole novel, but not want to stop writing. So that's where the
There
short
you go.
story kind of developed from. And then the journals, while I was waiting for the characters to kind of completely download the whole story, I had an opportunity to sit through a class and was like, okay, wait a minute. I like this. I absolutely love journals. I have 1,000 of them. So why not make some and
There you
and
go.
sell
That's
them?
what's up. I
Yep.
love that. And now you got the t-shirt business going on. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
wow.
You gotta diversify. Gotta diversify the many streams, many streams. So
So do you now let me so I gotta ask you because I do want to buy t-shirts. So you have any t-shirts available? I mean, or
yes,
is there a
yes,
website?
definitely. The easiest way to get to the t-shirts is to go to my direct me link. So it's direct.me/author Chanel. And then when that pulls up, you'll see the newsletter, you'll see Jesus Lit, that's the merch brand. And you'll see social media, everything is on that one link. It's kind of like a link tree. And then,
You said direct.net,
yeah, direct me. Mm-hmm.
directme.net.
No, direct.me
Oh,
forward
direct.me.
slash, yeah, direct.me forward slash author Chanel, all one word. And
Ooh, yes.
then when it pops up, the shirt link is there. You get a free book if you buy a shirt.
Oh,
Yeah, get a
okay.
free
Y'all
book
heard
if you
that.
buy a shirt. Yeah,
Y'all heard that.
free
Buy a
ebook,
shirt, get a free book.
free ebook with every purchase. Um, and an opportunity to join the newsletter, but you don't have to join the newsletter if you don't want to. But you still get the book without joining the newsletter. And you get your shirt. And I actually just added some collection. I added to the collection. I have the Bella Lady tee, which is kind of a slim fit. Then I have the regular unisex tee and a unisex V-neck.
Ooh, man. See, you
Yeah.
look at you. T-shirts, books, journals. Look at here. I want to be like you when I grow up.
I just want to, I want to be full time. The goal is to make this my last year teaching public school and just diving in full time. So I'm also thinking about doing a clubhouse show, kind of like this. So I'll be tapping you for a guest appearance. um, yeah,
Alrighty.
yeah, I'm thinking about doing that as well, just to just be immersed in it and to enjoy it. Life is so short, and I just really want to enjoy it to the full.
It let me tell you, yes, it is way too short to not enjoy this and not enjoy this
Yes,
thing.
yes,
And people, a lot of people are so concerned about what's going to happen tomorrow. Dude, tomorrow's not even promised to you, so why would you worry about that? How about you live present in the moment of today?
yes, yes. And with the thing, we're not saying its name, the thing. Um, I've experienced some loss, and in experiencing that loss, you just realize that it's not promised.
It really isn't. And
So you want to
to me,
do everything you can to live your purpose and to live in peace. Not that it's always going to be joyful, but to live in some sort of peace, even with
exactly.
the
Oh,
turmoil.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't. And the funny thing about it is now I don't look at things in the form of days and nights and hours and minutes. I look at things in moments.
Oh, that's
You know,
beautiful.
the moment. Okay, so I have this one moment that I can spend with my girlfriend, and we can have a wonderful time
Mm-hmm.
and not being enamored or encumbered by anything that's going on externally around us or internally with us.
Yes, that's
You know, I,
beautiful.
I can be present in the moment here
Mm-hmm.
and enjoy a great conversation. With a very prolific and profound author,
Thank
and
you.
really just enjoy the moment and the end of
Yeah.
the enjoy that moment is too short for all that other stuff. I mean, you can't worry about tomorrow. I mean, geez, if tomorrow comes, are you gonna be able to deal with what you dealt with yesterday? No,
That part. That part.
because yesterday's already gone. You ain't gonna meet that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how people say, "Well, I'll get it done tomorrow." Well, you got tonight to do it. Why not do it tonight? You
Yeah.
got time. I mean, it's 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
But
And I think that's how I've learned to function. There's a quote, and I forgive me, I don't know who said it, but and I forgot where I was when I heard it, but it says putting things off for the next day that you're supposed to do today is like assuming that God is going to give you another day to do it. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on, because
Prophet,
I because
yeah,
I will procrastinate. And so when I read the quote, it was like, whoa, wait a minute,
you
that's
talking
deep.
about me.
Yeah, because it's the assumption that you get the next day to do it,
You don't.
and how dare you, because you don't know. So
Exactly.
having to
Exactly.
take care of things when you have the opportunity, like seize the moment, carpe diem, seize the moment, and enjoy
I
the
have
moment.
to. Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, gonna pose a couple of questions to you as we close everything out. So, the
Okay.
first question I want to pose to you, number one, um, do you so this is a phrase that I've heard when I first jumped into the literary thing, and I want to know if this is a phrase that you that I that you that resonates with you as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Your story is done when there's no more words to speak. So does that resonate with you as a writer?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that when it's complete, you need to stop. No, in the sense that the story can go on. There's always room to extend the story. So
Right.
I've had to take that same advice and really hone in on the stop, because I want to go on and on forever and ever and ever. And if it's when it gets to the resolution, that's when the words end. So I've learned to just let it go. Let it go.
Exactly, exactly. So the other one is a is a statement, and I want to know if it resonates with you. We're only good as the last thing we created.
Ooh, I like that because the assumption is that every time you create something new, it's better. So I would say yes, because that was my best. So the next thing I create is the goal is to make it better than the last thing I did.
I resonated with that too because they said you're only as good as your last thing. Well, that's true because well, what if the last thing you made was complete trash? Then what? Then,
Got to
then
get better.
how do you answer that?
Yeah, got to get better.
Oh yeah, get good or get gone.
Yes,
And the
get
last
good
thing
or
is
get
something that I
gone.
always ask guests who come here, and I always we we're in this marathon of life.
Hmm.
Some of us are in one spot. Some of us are in one spot. Some of us are in another spot. Some of us are in different another spot. What I mean by these spots, I mean different stages.
Hmm.
Beginning stage is like you're coming out the gate and you're getting your pace. The second stage is like the middle part of the race to where you're running strong and you're at a great pace. The last stage is the finish.
Hmm.
The finish line is well at hand. You're not slowing up your pace because you want to finish strong.
Hmm.
In this particular marathon, now when it relates to books, your publishing thing, your journals, your t-shirt business, your life in general.
Hmm.
What part of this marathon are you on?
Oh, I'm definitely in the middle. And honestly, I don't want to get to the finish line. I want to keep going.
Yeah,
You know,
because the
I
finish line
want
is the
there to
end.
be more books. I want there to be, more apparel. I want there to be more journals, more projects. And I like the middle. I like the run. I like the race.
The race is important. The race is important, and it's not it's not where you finish. It's just that you finish.
Hmm.
A lot of
Hmm.
people are worried about first and second place, and one of the two at least place. I'm like, I ain't looking. I'm not trying to be first. I'm not trying to get on the podium. I just want to finish.
Yeah, that's the internal feeling of success
Yeah,
outweighs, the medals and the ribbons and the podiums and things like that. There's
yeah,
joy in just being a part. I ran the Iron Girl quite some time ago, and of course I was nowhere near first, second, or third, but I wasn't
exactly,
last, and I enjoyed the fact that I finished.
exactly. And the funny part about it is people don't look at it from that aspect of it.
Hmm.
They want to be on a podium. I don't care about being on a podium. I just want to finish.
Yeah.
As long as I cross that finish line, and at the end of the day, I won't even say at the end of the day. As long as I cross that finish line, and at the end of this physical life that I have,
Hmm.
if I can if I can go to God and Jesus say, and they tell me, "Well done, my good and faithful
Yes,
servant." That is my
that's
finish.
it. Yep,
That that is the end goal
definitely.
to run in this particular race. I just want to be able to
Hmm.
finish in that and be congratulated on running a good race.
Yes, that is the goal. The well done.
Exactly. I mean, no, you're gonna run a bad race, but as long as you finish the race,
Hmm.
I just don't understand why people will want to be first, second, or third. Those are just places.
And those are
Those are
temporary spots too. Um, you know, you're good. Then someone else comes along. You get older, and someone else younger comes along. So it's a place, and it's an honor. Don't get me wrong; it's definitely an honor to be first, second, third, or be on the podium. Those are wonderful places to be, but
right,
there's so much joy in just being a part of something.
bigger than yourself,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I like that, and I think with that, that's for me. That is the kind of like the main purpose of it all, to be a part of something that's much bigger than me,
Hmm.
because if I'm in something that's bigger than me, I'm probably going to be a small cog in that very large engine. but I'm just
Hmm.
as important as the bigger cogs and
Yes.
the bigger parts.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
I like that. I really do. A lot of people that I ask about that, they answer like either in the beginning or towards the middle, and it
Hmm.
really speaks to a lot of where everybody is, where a lot of people that I talk to are. They
Hmm.
don't. They're running there and they don't want to stop running. They don't want to get to the end because they know if they get to the end, that's it.
Yes. No, I don't, I definitely don't. I want to be able to run. But with everything, different seasons in life, I'm a teacher by trade, and I'm at the end of that.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm at the end of that. I'm finishing. But as far as my writing career, I'm definitely in the middle and love in the middle.
Sometimes you gotta love the middle to appreciate the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good.
That's right. I mean,
That's a
I mean,
quote.
even you.
You have to put that on a shirt, Fred.
Sometimes you gotta let them able to appreciate the to appreciate. Oh, hey, you know what? Freely given. Go by all means. Go ahead. I, I would, I would not mind at all. I would be honored if you. I would be honored if that was put on a shirt.
That's nice. I like that.
You know what? I'll most definitely send that to you. So if you have a shirt idea, there, boom, there you go.
Thank you.
Welcome. You welcome. So I'm gonna give you this particular opportunity to give you're gonna I'm gonna allow you to give yourself the most shameless plug you can ever give yourself. I mean, I want you to let everybody know who you are, where they can find you, what you got going, what's gonna be released soon, and also where they can find your t-shirt line and everything that's going on with She Nell. So you have the floor.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Shameless plug. um, if you are looking for some Christian fiction, some African American Christian fiction, some drama, but you want to make sure that you are spiritually sound as well, you want to be entertained and edified, definitely come holla at your girl. I am the author, She Nell, author of the No Love Like God's Love series, as well as the Living the Blessed Lives series, and a whole bunch of standalones in between. The easiest way, or one of the many ways to find me, is to either go on my website, channelinc.com, or my direct me link, direct.me/author Chanel, and everything will pull up. There in either site, you will find the t-shirts, Jesus Lit is the brand. You will find the books, you will find blog posts, and soon to come in the month of May, you will also find journals, as we will release the Grace Collection.
Ooh, the Grace Collection. My
Yes.
goodness. Looking forward to that, man. Looking very forward to that. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and countrymen, hey, look, if y'all don't know who this lady is now, I'm gonna have to let you guys know you better know who she is now.
Oh,
This lady right here is a very talented and prolific author. She's now author, now publisher, now entrepreneur with her own t-shirt line, and then she's got journals coming out, y'all. Come on, man. I need y'all to tap in. I really do need y'all to tap in. Check
he's
her out on her website at ChanelInc.com. Also
mm-hmm,
go to her direct me page as well. Um that is where her shirts Jesus Lit is, and
mm-hmm.
that's where you can find those shirts. And oh, like she said earlier, buy a shirt, you get a free book.
Buy a
So
shirt, and it comes with a free
you
book.
can't beat that. You can't beat that deal, y'all. But you get a shirt, get a t-shirt, get a free book with it. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Can't beat that. Cannot beat that. And then she got some stuff coming out, man. Make sure you guys tap in for that. And oh my god.
Definitely,
I'm
definitely.
First of all, I'm looking forward to, now is book 4 going to be the conclusion of the Living and Blessed Life series?
Yes, book 4 is the conclusion of the Living the Blessed Life series.
See, I'm
That's a
looking forward
I
to that.
kind of call it when I'm at shows and stuff. I call it the lunch break read, because if you have about an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes, you can get through the book. It's a true short story. So book 4 will be out probably by like the fall. I got a couple of things brewing, so probably like the fall, end of summer, beginning of fall, possibly.
Cool, cool. So we're most definitely, we're gonna keep our eyes and ears out for that one. Because
Yes.
look, y'all, this lady right here, when I tell you, when we met and we had our conversations, during that event, and
That was
she
fun.
was, it was a fun event, and she was so very encouraging to me because as I noticed, and this is a true story this is a true story, and this is something I never really truly thanked you for the encouragement that you gave to me, but I want to personally thank you now. And so
Oh,
I just want to say, during that event, I noticed that everybody was gravitating towards everybody else but me, and I'm like the lone guy, the guy that's the culture in the petri dish, and that's how I was feeling. I feel like, okay, well, maybe they wrote this for the wrong reasons and things of that nature. You know, when you came over and you said those encouraging words to me, that made all the difference in the world. And I
oh.
want to say, and I want to personally say thank you. I never got the chance to say that to you because everybody was in a rush to leave, and
It was a long
everybody
event,
was so much in
wasn't
a rush to
it?
leave and go, and I never really got the chance to tell you thank you.
Oh.
And so I want to personally say thank you for those encouraging words because it meant a lot for me, and it also was the driving force for me to continue writing.
Oh, Fred, that's so sweet. Well, you're most welcome. And I want to take the time to thank you for always supporting, always liking and sharing, and, sharing your platform and allowing me to speak to your audience. That means the world to me. So thank you as well.
Look, anytime you want to come around, hey, doors open.
I
You
appreciate
know,
it.
come on in. It's these moments right now. You know, as we conclude, I mean, it's these moments, and I just want to just throw this out here. You know, kind of a little off topic, but it's on my heart and on my spirit to say. It's moments like these that we have to be very cognizant of
Hmm.
the people that we share our worlds with. Our innermost worlds with. You
Hmm.
know, it's important to surround yourself with people that will support you,
Hmm.
um, irrespective of whether it's good, bad, or indifferent.
Hmm.
And it's important to be surrounded by the right people.
Hmm.
Sometimes we can surround ourselves with the wrong people, and a lot of things that we endeavor to do turn out to be either half-assed or just not done
Hmm.
properly. The
Hmm.
right people and the right support system will always hold you accountable to the things that you do.
Definitely.
They will
Definitely.
always say, "Hey, get up, dust off. Let's come on. Let's
Yeah.
do this. Don't
Yeah.
don't give up now." The right people will always say, "Look, I know it looks ugly. I know it looks bad, but trust and believe in your talents and trust and believe in your abilities."
Hmm.
The right people will always tell you the truth. They won't
Yes.
give you a song and dance. They won't lie. They won't sit up there and be like, "Well, hey, you're doing a great job." No, the right people will say, "Look, sis, bruh,
Hmm.
um, uh-uh,
Yeah. And they'll
let's go
do it in
someplace else."
love too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
They won't tear you. They'll be constructive. They'll give constructive criticism, but that constructive criticism will be out of love and respect and
Hmm.
deference for you as an
Hmm.
individual, and not because they just want to they just want to have something to say to you or criticize you for no reason. The right
Hmm.
people will always say, well, when they always criticize you, it's gonna be it's gonna be out of love, but it's also gonna be pointing out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and also what you're doing correctly. You know,
Yes.
the right person, the right people will correct you.
Yes.
And we as entrepreneurs and authors and musicians and leaders, in whatever respective thing that you're a leader in, we have to be we have to be in tune and be able to be corrected.
Yes.
A lot of us don't want correction. A lot of us want correction, but we don't want to be corrected. And
Hmm.
that's not,
Hmm.
and for me, when you look at it in that aspect, that's not good.
No, you got to be coachable. You got
Yeah.
to be coachable.
You can't say put me in the game, coach, and you ain't looked at the game plan.
Yes. You ain't been to no practices, but here you go.
Yep. But you want to be what you want to be put in the game at crunch time, and
Mm-hmm.
you have no idea of what's going on, and you don't even
Mm-hmm.
know the situation.
Yeah. Gotta be
The
coachable.
right people will do that,
Mm-hmm.
and again, it's just, and that's just, it was kind of a off off topic blurb, but but it also to for you, because I mean, I was I was just really at a low point at that day, because
Oh,
I got no sales and all that stuff. And then, just the way I was thinking, and the minute you said those encouraging words, it literally automatically lifted my spirits. And that was the reason why I continued to keep writing.
that's amazing. Wow. Well, praise
And
God. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing
you're
that with
welcome.
me.
And those are the type of people that you want to keep close to you.
Yes.
People that will always be in the background, rooting for you. I mean, just regardless of what, and the funny thing about it is I do this for a lot for everybody that comes on this platform. I share what I like and share what they're doing. if
Mm-hmm.
if it's something that I feel that's really relevant, that I can really just push out there, I will push it out there as much as I
Mm-hmm.
can. um
Mm-hmm.
I know she's written so many short stories and so many books. I mean, I try that, I literally can't keep pace right now. I literally can't keep pace right now. That's the other reason why she's here on the show, because I want to make sure that I'm in the, like, what book are you right now? Which one can I share? Can I share them all? Can I share something coming up? What? So
Yes.
you've written so much stuff that I literally can't keep pace. And I'm like, what she got going on right now? Is this the right thing to share with me? And that's what
It's all good. It's all good.
and that it's, you want to be able to have those people close to you. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate
Definitely.
you so much from the bottom of my heart for just, number one, just being, number one, a sister of the pen. Number, most definitely a sister of the pen, but then also a sister in the body of Christ. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's even more important.
Yes. Definitely.
And then just, just being a sister to me, period. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, for me, that is the most important thing, the three most important things that I can most definitely take away from our interactions and our
Mm-hmm.
interaction, and especially the interaction that you're the one interaction that kind of really just said, look, don't give up, just keep going forward. And then to
Definitely.
see
Definitely.
you, progress and evolve and grow. What can I say? I'm a
To God be the glory. That's all we can say.
indeed,
To
indeed,
God be the glory.
indeed, but as a brother, and as a black man talking to a black woman, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I can say with all honesty that I'm proud of you,
Thank you. Oh,
and I can most definitely say I'm proud of you, and most definitely gonna encourage you to keep going. That is
thank
the other
you.
thing that is so rare, but and missing, especially amongst us, man. We don't say that we're
Mm-hmm.
proud of each other. We don't say that we don't congratulate each other. We don't do any of that. And for me, if somebody's progressing and they're growing and they're evolving, hey sis, I'm proud of you. Hey bruh,
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I like to tell the story. When my husband proposed to me, the first person I told was another sister at the church, because he proposed to me at church. Um, and I went and I told her, and she was, because I was just like, oh my God, he just asked me to marry him. And I said yes. And she was so genuinely happy for me and excited with me. And I was almost taken aback, like, wow, you just as happy as I am. And she said, definitely. The Bible says when people are going through, you cry with them when they're going through, but you also rejoice when they rejoice, and you rejoice for them. Because if God can do it for you, he can definitely do it for me when it's my time. Might not be my
Exactly.
time right now, but when it's my
Exactly.
time, he can definitely do it. So you're supposed to rejoice when other people rejoice, and I do. I've noticed that as well. It's not a trend in our community to support and congratulate others, but I try to do it as much as I can, because that's so important. Your words that you spoke to me, I mean, I feel like I could just write all night tonight because you said I could do it. like, oh, I'm gonna write some more tonight.
Oh man, look here. Go ahead. I mean, and like I said, and that I mean, I'm definitely gonna be digging. I'm definitely gonna be in the book in the notebook and the pen tonight. I mean, because that's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
so many ideas I want to just throw down right now. So, but first and foremost, I want to just number one, I want to thank you for taking the time out of a Friday. You
Hmm.
know, probably a busy Friday, probably a very hectic Friday. You know, I know how Fridays. I know how certain Fridays are in Tampa. So,
Yeah.
so taking the time out of a Friday to sit down and have a few words with me and just talk about you as a writer and also just have a wonderful conversation. So I thank you for
Wonderful
that.
conversation.
That doesn't go that doesn't go over my head. I'm
Hmm.
very cognizant of the fact of the people that I bring here, but also cognizant of the fact of the conversations that we have. And I'm also very appreciative of the time that they take out of a busy day to do
Hmm.
this because literally you could have been doing something else, but you're here, and I appreciate that. And
Thank you.
tell your husband that I really appreciate him, you know, being able to, have, you know, give you up for a little bit just so we can talk.
Awesome. I definitely will.
But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this will conclude this particular episode of the Arthur's Alley once again with my prolific and beautiful and most definitely a sister of the pen, but also a sister in Christ. Um,
Amen.
my friend She Nell, She Nell, author She Nell. You can find her. Look, go to SheNellInc.com,
Hmm.
go to direct.me / she author She Nell. Go find her there. Check her out on the various social media platforms. She's got a lot of things going on right now, a lot of books that are going to be releasing real soon. So most definitely keep your eyes and your ears out for those. And most definitely continue to follow us on our social
Definitely.
media platforms, where no matter
Hmm.
whether it's Instagram, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's um, Twitter, wherever we are on social media, just follow us there, man, and just continue to support us by you know liking this particular show, sharing this particular show with your circle of influence. Also, the audio episode for this particular show will be available this week, so make sure you too tap into us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Caster FM. Go wherever you get your podcast from, go check us out there as well. And also check out this great interview from a great person, a great human being, but also a someone that I truly consider um, a sister, not
Yes.
only of the pen but also of Christ.
Amen.
So
Definitely.
I want you guys to continue to I want you guys to continue to follow us, follow her. And oh, I forgot. So make sure you guys continue to tune in to us on Mondays and Thursdays
Hmm.
with Quint Jones and Coco Fenton with My Life Has Destiny. They are coming out with some really great subjects, great subject matter, some great content. Make sure you guys keep your eyes and your ears on for that. These ladies are really on fire right now, and I am loving it. I've been tuning in, I've been loving it. Also check out the takeover with Bobby. Um, this lady right here. All I can say is that for her to be as for her to go through a lot of things, but for her also to allow herself to be vulnerable and talk about those things at length, but also talk about other situations. I truly commend her on her vulnerability and her availability to do that. Um, she's had some marvelous shows. The last show was oh my god. So make sure you guys tune into those guys, and then also me. The Author's Alley is always on Fridays at 8 p.m. Central. Not Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, right here on Trailblazers Radio, and also coming up next week, next Friday, I have my friends, my oh my god. I've been looking to have these guys on for a while, and I am so happy to have them on. Um, the visionaries behind Television Productions, Traz and Tamika Tiller. We're going to have a great conversation about them, about their production company, what they got going on, and what their fans and their followers can expect from them. But in order to see that episode, you guys have to tune in. So I want you guys to tune in with us. Tune in, kick back and vibe out with it. As I always say, um, Trailblazers Radio, blazing a trail where no one else will tread. So on that, that's going to end this episode of the Office Alley with me, your host Frederick Beatty, and also my beautiful guest, Miss She Nell. As I always like to say, the three things I always like to say to everybody when we conclude episodes, man. First of all, take care of each other. Number two, love on each other. Number three, it is a crazy, crazy, tumultuous, and hectic world out here. So above all things, please, 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 please be safe and be sound. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Follow us on social media, and you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Now, gonna take you guys home with a commercial. This is going to be who one of the sponsors is, and that's gonna be Uppity Negro. So you guys check this out. Check this out. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
We're living in a different time. Isn't that what the old folks say? Well, I beg to differ. Because there really is nothing new under the sun. We used to think that this generation was stronger than that of my parents. But after learning where and whom we come from, I realized that this was a false narrative. They fought, bled, and died for the liberties that we take advantage of today. So I changed my mind. We are our grandparents. We are our parents. This is where the idea for Uppity Negro apparel and accessories comes from. We are the Uppity Negroes that defy boundaries, broke chains, climbed mountains, and crossed valleys of hatred, bigotry, illiteracy, and oppression. The statement is simple. The cause is never ending. The sound, loud. Say it with me, kindred. I am that